as the transmitted evanescent wave, thanks to the PZT.
So, like, to do this, would you use pulsed DC?
You would use an oscillating source that you could generate a standing wave with, one that could handle the high Q and the modification of refractive index and the physical dielectric of your piezoelectric element.
Jeremiah, is that the newer one with bound charge on the screen right now? Or is
he would want bound charge specifically because the bound charge would amplify tremendously the amount of energy density and the evanescent wave traveling the surface. You'd want the bound charge on the surface where the wave is at its peak amplitude, right at the boundary layer between the PZT and the outside vacuum environment.
This is like an electrical and a physical thing. Like, I assume you would want to use the piezoelectric because you're physically deforming the material, right? And that somehow interacts with the electrical forces. I'm really
right. What
in
you're
over
doing
my
here
head.
is, okay, so you could normally electrical forces are compressed by current traveling through a conductor. In this case, there are trapped charges on the surface, and the evanescent wave refers to the compression of the physical matter, that is the PZT crystal itself changing shape.
Yeah.
So the trapped charges in that piezoelectric material get compressed together, and very much like the operation of a klystron where charges get bound together and squeezed. And here is a squeezed state of charge, which produces a photon, which is a squeezed state of light. Garry would be an expert on this, and Todd Desiato has mathematics to represent it.
But, like, is it fairly straightforward to calculate what I'm assuming resonance is involved? Like, you want to find a resonant frequency for...
right. Well, the mathematics doesn't necessarily account for the resonance. The resonance is considered a preceding condition wherein the effects occur. And so, like, for example, Todd's mathematics don't try to account for how you build up or achieve a resonant state. What they do is explain what happens when you're in that state. So, and I think that they do it pretty accurately.
You just have to experiment with whatever material you have on hand to find that?
Right, exactly. You would do it by trial and error, if you will. The classic scientific approach.
Yeah. Do you know anybody that is working on that?
Us. I mean, our group, we specifically cater in that.
And that seems like fairly low-hanging fruit when it comes to all the topics we discussed. I
completely agree. It is low-hanging fruit right there for the taking, and we should be doing it.
Yeah. I mean, I went so far as to look at suppliers for PZT. It's not like super expensive, but it's probably difficult to machine or whatever work with.
You cast it, not so much machine it. I mean, you can clean up the surface, but generally speaking, you need some of the more difficult to acquire, high temperature, cured, and sintered dielectrics, like, for example, barium titanate. A very good solution for this because barium titanate will generate an incredibly strong evanescent wave, and it happens to have a material property called what is it? Ferroelectromagnetism, or it's a ferroelectric, which means the charge applied to one side of the dielectric almost immediately appears on the other side without having to transition through the mass. So you get a partial polarization instantaneously, and then you get a complete polarization that lags behind. But the partial polarization is very useful because it allows for a superluminal phase velocity. It doesn't work with all of your piezoelectrics.
Hey, I'm sorry, guys. I had a $30 super chat here that StreamYard did not even notify me about. I didn't even see it. Truth Seekers says, Jeremy, thanks for all the great content and all the great work you and your group are doing. Gives me hope for the future, which is rare these days. I appreciate that, man. We're trying to build a better future, man, because there's enough. Has to be somebody here building the future with all the people out there destroying it and trying to.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. And you can see.
Fuck.
I'm glad that you're back, Will. Where is Todd?
Man, so I came back to make a few corrections.
Hear you, Garry.
There was like a graph of dielectric where was it? A few minutes ago in the video, or You just had it up a minute ago, Jeremy. There was a graph in their video, and I just wanted to make a correction. I noticed.
Was it? It wasn't this one. That was the one with.
That's the
Tim.
one with the one. Yeah, sorry, Tim's presentation. Correct.
It's Tim's presentation.
With Charles Bueller just now. I know. I was following along on YouTube, and I noticed some. It's a faux pas, I would say. So.
This graph or
no, not that one. It's the one where they show the dielectrics with the forces or the electric fields a little further along. Hey, that one? Maybe no, that's after it. Where's no? Maybe earlier. There was a graph he had. I thought, or maybe it was the other video, because this is.
So, what do you guys think of Byfield-Brown effect in general? Have you given up or what?
Byfield-Brown effect is misunderstood because
that is this effect we're looking at right now, probably.
Good.
Byfield-Brown effect is not understood. Guys, I need to point this out, especially if you're going to ask that question, Gary.
Well,
my current working hypothesis is it's this.
I know the working hypothesis, but I'm thinking you guys seem to have given up on it from what I've seen on OPEC,
I haven't.
Well, I mean, that's everyone's their own individual. This whole group is like herding cats, so don't
totally.
Don't assume anything is given up on. Honestly, it's better that way, because if there is disinfo trying to stop everyone, like someone's just going to be like stubborn as a brick and just keep working on it anyway. And then
I'm that fucking guy.
It's better if there's a plurality of interests. Oh, there it is. Perfect. That's the one.
Anyways, if I can point this out, this is not the Byfield-Brown effect that we're looking at here.
Well, this is kind of an improvement on it, isn't it?
No,
they're not using AC on this. This is just a DC field they're applying.
This is the well recognized.
Yeah, but this is the thing. There are anomalous effects when it comes to AC and the frequency. There's even an exponential effect to the point of 1.9.
Well, so I'm thinking that anomalous effect is simply the transient on the pins that they had. So, like, if you look at Townsend Brown's
but that depends on
he talks about like this.
Setups.
He talks about needles and on one side and a flat capacitor plate on the other side, and the needles, like the force kind of goes away if you don't pulse it with AC.
Have you seen
why would that happen? Because the
one plate,
the needle
one plate capacitor experiments, it still works with one plate, not two plates.
I'm less familiar. I think that's more the PEM drive. That's a slightly different effect, and that is typically AC. But that is that's what that other fellow is talking about now too. On the last APEC, what was his name again? The guy with the fractal antenna thing. Well, anyway,
David Perez.
David Perez. Yeah. I think that is different enough that I would say it's a separate effect but related. But anyway, to this graph here, I just want to make a quick point here. They say the electric field in vacuum is higher on plate 2 and lower on plate 1, but at the interface between the dielectrics in this capacitor they're showing here, where the electric field drops suddenly, there's a force on the dielectric surface between the plates, which equilibrates the force at the two plates themselves. So the three forces cancel out. So I don't know what they're talking about with this breakthrough here. But besides the electret, I don't know.
This is the thing, though. It's such a everyone disagrees. There's so many theories on this: one plate, two plates, asymmetrical, symmetrical.
That's always how it will be, and that's fine because
that's
then
what I was trying.
More things.
Michael, that's what I was trying to get at.
Yeah.
With the dielectric at a high voltage, and the other side is ground. Sure. If you think of it as just a parallel plate capacitor, what you just said is correct. But if you think of this as some sort of flying saucer propulsion device, and ground is the entire hull of the ship above the bottom, and only the bottom is of this propulsion device, only the bottom disc is highly charged.
Okay, I guess.
Is it charged to the same?
Yeah.
negative.
Okay,
Or
now
is it
any
floating.
ions in the environment are going to be either attracted or repelled by it, but whether the ions are attracted to it or repelled away from it, they produce a thrust in the opposite, up.
Yeah, but this is the main question, because there's many different experiments. There's so many variable parameters in this, although it's very simple in general. You can take it from the direct ground, or you can take it from the experiment ground with the same frequency as the positive.
Well, yeah, Todd, that makes total sense, and that makes me think maybe this is also what was used in the flux liner, maybe. Because, I mean, if you look at the flux liner notes, they have a ton of stacked capacitor plates with some dielectric in between. Maybe part of it's electret and part of it's normal
inside
dielectric.
the flux liner original documentations that were handwritten notes from Mckinnon and his team. One of those things that most of us had not seen. He talks about the flux liner capacitor plates being made of tiny little beads of copper sintered together.
Oh, I've not seen that.
In exactly the same kind of way that Richard Van Duyk did, designating that they are designed to store a tremendously stupid amount of charge.
Mm.
In a bead form.
Interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, you increase the
I wonder if I have that. Let me see. I'd like to pull this up for everybody because this is a diagram that's not been seen from the candlelit.
Oh, Jeremy, but Reese, by the way, do you have or Jeremy Rice? I think it's Reese. Do you have that link for dimensional archetypes across mystical traditions and something implying deeper intersections made by the AI?
Oh, that was written by an AI, and it makes no sense.
Oh, can you give me the link anyway? Can you post it in the private chat?
We're not being invaded by AI text, are we?
Yeah, I mean, just for my own research, it's got my interest. But if you could do that for me, Michael, I'd really appreciate that.
Fuck
I
you.
mean, I don't have it. I mean, I'm sure I have it somewhere. I just took a quick look at it. Jeremy can get it for you, I think. Anyone else here can get it for you.
I'll find
it.
it.
In all seriousness, there's so many simple experiments with the Byfield Brown. There's only about fucking 10 parameters on the bench. Obviously, physically, with physics, there's multiple parameters. But on the bench, it's a very simple fucking experiment. You can, and the main things are the distance between the capacitors, the voltage applied, and also obviously the dielectric component.
Well, but if you look at what Charles Bueller's saying, he's saying that they didn't see, like, they saw an effect, a very small.
But Bueller got the least effect out of all the experiments. He got very little thrust.
Yeah, so like he saw a small force, but a measurable force for the standard Byfield Brown stuff, and then when he switched to these charged electric capacitor things, that's when the forces became very large and usable.
Yeah, but he didn't go to very high voltage either, did he? It was very low voltage. It's like
if you count the voltage that's in the electret, that's many kilovolts. The charge on the plates he's using is 10 volts, but the electric field is still quite large because the plates are very close together.
Yeah. Yeah, like magnets, basically. It's like an inverse proportional force.
But yeah, I mean, if you like actually, I would still be interested to see those notes on the flux liner still, because it sounds like this might explain the flux liner.
So what have you done on the bench? I've done 2 experiments, one with a glass dielectric with a 50-gram capacitor, aluminium electrodes, and the glass dielectric lost 0.22 grams. And then I did nitrile rubber, which is about 5 or 6 in the K constant, and that lost 1.4 grams. Well, and I recently I need some advice actually. I bought some copper calcium titanate. I'm having a very hard fucking time pressing this thing into a disc.
What I do is so Gary, what I do is I take some Rochelle salt and I just use that as a binding agent for the calcium copper titanate. It works really well.
I was using PVA.
Yeah, you could, but the thing is, like, the dielectric constant falls off so fast with, like, if you have like 2 things of high dielectric and then you have like a small gap between them that's low dielectric, the final dielectric constant is not going to be that high. You want the dielectric constant all throughout to be very high. So you want your binding agent to be a high dielectric material as
what
well.
about heating and pressure?
The easiest thing to use is Rochelle salt.
What about heating and pressure?
Yeah, you could do that. I would be somewhat worried about changing the oxidation state of the copper.
That's
so
my
you
worry,
would want to do it out.
apparently
You might want to do it under vacuum or under inert atmosphere.
I can't do that in my shed, lad. But
Yeah, that's why I recommended Rochelle salt.
okay, I'm gonna have to try that path then.
Yeah, good luck.
What's the maximum dielectric constant with Rochelle salts?
Like 8,000. It's only along one axis, but if you have a polycrystalline structure, some of those crystals will be aligned, and that will be enough.
Okay.
So I got a question. Was it you that told me to go watch this video, Michael? Somebody sent it to me.
I think so. Yeah. Well, if I didn't send it to you, I definitely would have sent it to you, because this is an interesting video as well. It's very fundamental here. If you have the question being asked here is, if you have a completely empty universe with a bucket of water and some gravity in a direction, and the bucket suspended against gravity, if you have a completely empty universe, how does the bucket know that it's spinning?
Oh, this I have to hear.
These are the fundamental questions.
Yeah, because if the bucket is spinning against gravity, it'll have a parabolic structure on top of the water due to the centrifugal forces. But like if it's not spinning, it'll be flat.
Well, this is what the Rad's argument was. If we made it large, enough, you would realize that we are in a spinning frame of reference, because Newton's.
Well, there's two ways to take
spinning bucket is a misnomer. It's a localized frame of reference and a very small.
There's two ways to see this. So you can attribute it to the rest of the mass in the universe being like forming the reference frame for the object, or you can say that spin is intrinsic to the object itself. So like you could tell the spin state of the bucket regardless of whether there's a universe around it based on how the water curves in the bucket. And that's one way of looking at it. And the other way of looking at it is, no, the bucket can't really know unless there's other stuff there to pull against. So like there's like a gravitomagnetic force of the rest of the entire universe, which that's actually kind of plausible because the rest of the universe, that's a lot of mass. So like if there's this huge gravitomagnetic field that does this effect to the water, then I don't know. It could be something there. I don't know.
Well, there is, and it comes down to the acceleration.
There was no friction. The water wouldn't spin with the bucket.
Right. The inside surface of the bucket is in one frame of reference. The water in the bucket is in another frame of reference.
I think we're getting lost in kinematics.
Well, no. Actually, if it's
this
spinning,
is really important. Actually,
it is.
If the water is spinning at the same rate as the bucket, it would still be parabolic. It's not about friction on the bucket.
No, but the water wouldn't move if the bucket started spinning, unless there's friction.
Right, exactly. Hydrophobic.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean that is it's assumed to be either at rest, stationary, or at equilibrium spinning.
Exactly. And once it's at equilibrium spinning, all the work that was done to get it that way has already been done, and now it possesses angular momentum.
Yes. And that's intrinsic to the bucket.
Is stored in that parabola.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, actually, yes. That's well. So then there's like, where does the force come from to keep the water that way against the gravity, though? That's the question.
It's stored.
This is what it's about. It's about the origination of the force. Where does creation come from? That's the
so there's some fundamental potential energy associated with this parabola. Then
yeah.
That's interesting. That's very interesting.
I think MR really pointed this out the best in the comments, and he says, if it's the only thing in the universe, then it's the only thing creating gravity.
Yeah.
Meaning that if it's all the isolated matter that exists in its entirety, then it will.
Can I ask one question?
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. That's an interesting point, because if there is a mass far away creating the gravity that's pulling the water down in the first place, then that mass would also create maybe the gravitomagnetic field required to hold the parabola, maybe.
Well, Also, you have to figure, in order to set the buckets
Angular
in
momentum.
motion spinning, you have to first have another object that acts upon it with a torque. So
Todd was saying something. Sorry, Todd.
Jeremy's saying it for me.
yeah.
Oh,
So
okay. Sorry, my bad.
yeah. So what happens to conservation of momentum if you so where did the torque come from to start the bucket spinning?
That's a fair point.
And there has to be an equal and opposite reaction due to conservation laws. So something else.
He's right. We would need two frames of reference. One of the frame that would create the rotation, and the other of the frame that is the rotation.
We're not talking
now
about.
I've got the bad news for you.
We're not talking about the
matter.
Now I got the bad news for you. It's all the matter in the universe. All the matter in the universe that sets the speed of light here and now.
Yeah. So this experiment wouldn't work properly in a universe without matter or something?
If it was a universe without matter, the speed of light would be very, very fast. But from our reference plane, in a universe like that with no mass in it, no matter in it,
you know what? We'll never have a
scale is irrelevant.
Explaining consciousness.
Yeah, our big G is literally a derivative of all the matter in the universe. So we can't get our space-time metric constant unless we have that matter.
Yeah, in fact, G depends on the refractive index, 1 over the refractive index to the 4th power, where C only requires 1 over the refractive index. So G is actually much more susceptible to all the mass in the universe than C.
Interesting.
This is why I knew Todd was the only guy who had the math for this.
That's a very interesting point, actually.
You can't explain your own existence with sums.
It always boils down to who made God.
Oh, he's got a deep voice.
Well, I'm going to have to think about that one, Todd. I think gravity is that refractive index in a sense. So if it's also affected by that refractive index, that's recursive. I'll have to think about that.
It's nonlinear.
Fair. Okay, could be.
Nonlinear.
Maybe there's something that. Maybe there's something that's.
If it's nonlinear, it's non-recursive. That just goes with the territory.
There is stuff beyond this, beyond math, beyond physics, consciousness.
I don't know about that.
If we can explain consciousness, then we can explain all material. I think consciousness creates everything that's material.
I agree with Garry on that, actually.
Well, indeed, we know that the substrate of biology is chemistry. The substrate of biology is chemistry, and the substrate of chemistry is physics. And the substrate of physics, according to the Joule slot experiment, is
we need the Planck scale, right? Like what you're saying, Ian, like what Garry has talked about before. We have this thing that exists underneath the Planck scale, and it determines the Planck length, the Planck distance, the information horizon of the boundary layer.
Tiny triangles.
Right. Exactly. It's tetrahedral. We have a grid lattice structure.
In 3 dimensions.
It's a structure, and it's composed of positronium points.
I got to head out for the night, so you guys have fun. I stayed half an hour longer than I expected to, but it was fun.
Nice to hear you, man. That's very good.
Good.
Yeah,
I love what you said.
To hang out.
But Jeremy, I also put a...
Michael, that tetrahedron has 4 points that describe it, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, look at the amplithahedron.
It has 4 dimensions.
If you use the amplithahedron back in 2013, it was a mathematical object they used to describe like 64 dimensions or something as some combination. I don't know, it's adding stuff to the conversation.
That sounds cool.
Has anyone read the...
Can I just say, I'm frankly absolutely stunned to be on the same panel as both Garry and Michael. Amazing.
Oh, dude, we're all anti-societals together.
Well, hey, yeah.
Welcome to the Rebel
Respect
cause.
for what you've done. Thank you very much.
It's
Garry.
a pleasure to be on the podcast with the voice of God. So,
is he here?
Wow.
That's the people were saying, they didn't know who Ian was, and they heard him talking, and everyone in the comments was freaking out.
I normally do the talking. I don't normally come on the camera, you see.
He does. He's got the voice for it, man.
Yeah. Ian Parker, he made the Sumerians.
They say a face for radio. Yeah.
Oh, man. But seriously, it is really about consciousness, isn't it? Because without the thought, there is no matter.
Have you tried DMT, Garry?
No, but I've been out of my body, so I totally believe that you are separate from the physical.
Every story that you've heard about DMT is true. You cannot perceive the view from the top of the mountain until you climb the mountain and see the view for yourself.
Let me say two things on that. Terence, what's his face, which was the first Westerner to popularize DMT.
Yeah,
Mr. McKinnon.
Yeah, he said, "Oh my God, the machine elves." So he preloaded every fucking Westerner who took that drug afterwards. Oh my God, I saw the machine elves too. It's
I
like
wouldn't have seen them like that.
Your friend took a trip and he said, "Oh, I saw sexy babes." So, oh my God, I saw sexy babes too.
I did rather a lot and was catapulted into a council of those entities. So I wouldn't describe them as machine elves, but they are there and they see us.
I feel the need to point out that specifically to Jeremy, for you, alien scientist, I want to point out that you're smiling and it looks like you're having a good time. I think you forget that these shows are fucking awesome, and you assemble some of the best team members that have ever existed. So, while you're smiling, I want you to lock it into your mind that you are the awesome collaborator of these.
Yeah, Jeremy, I hope you don't have like a wife and kids and all that shit, because that would just take up too much of your time.
Like the conductor of an orchestra.
Next time you get bummed out, remember this one. Remember that you have the ability.
You know what? One of the funniest things I've heard Jeremy say was when he was talking in the lab, and the other guy's name, I'm shit at names, so I apologize. And he was talking about what you visualize is what you get. And Jeremy said, "I don't see any supermodels in my house."
I've got to try that. I just keep visualizing robots.
Yeah, let's keep trying.
Yeah. Well, I visualized someone on the team producing anti-gravity, and I thought
that's the dream.
If someone's done it, if they, like Stephen Greer and other people say they figured it out in October.
Oh, Stephen Greer's full of fucking shit,
right? Well, there's a bunch of people repeating this all over Twitter that we figured out gravity in 1954.
What was the acrylic block thing before? Because I know from physics, if you rub a piece of acrylic with a soft cloth,
static,
you creates the charge on it. So could you not get a rotary cotton disc against the acrylic, removing the charge from it?
You can deposit charges on the surface, but if you really want the acrylic block to do its magic, then you got to talk to somebody that does the.
Can I quickly tell you guys about my bifold Brown experiments?
Please.
Hell yes.
Right. Yeah. I've done two. Both with a 50-gram capacitor with aluminium electrodes. And the first one was with a glass dielectric, and which the K was about 3 or 4. I'd have no way of calculating it. And it lost 0.22 grams. The second one was with nitrile rubber, which is of a K about 6. It lost 1.44 grams. And I recently bought some calcium copper titanate powder on the advice of Michael. 180 quid it cost me for a kilogram.
Mm.
And my God, is that thing hard to fucking shape. I've melted it, taken it to like 1100 degrees. I've used 3 different methods to heat it. I used a propane gas forge, basically, in a graphite crucible, and the fucking thing just absorbed graphite and the ash and all the.
I see the problem here. I bet Michael does too.
And then I used
is what you want.
Well, yeah, exactly. So my second method was an electric forge, still in a graphite crucible, and that absorbed the graphite. So my third method is the induction coil, but it's still the container. What the fuck I tried iron, I tried steel, and it just bonded. I'm like, how the fuck do you melt this?
Ceramic of some kind.
Well, I have an answer.
Is it just soaking into the graphite?
Please give me the answer.
What's with the graphite? Is the graphite just
no, the graphite's fucked. The graphite's fucked. Yeah, it's just like ash.
It just soaks into it. Mad.
Yeah.
Would you like to know how to make one?
Yes, please.
Okay, this is what we did. CCTO. We mixed it with, and I will pull it out of my box to tell you exactly what material it was. You're going to want to write this down. So grab your pen and paper.
I'm recording this, so it's all good.
Okay. The epoxy that I used was something called Epoxy Cast 690. And
what the fuck is that?
High temp stuff, but that's only about 800 degrees. Right. You're not going to hit it.
Smooth-on Incorporated, two-part.
Gary, you said you need about 1200 degrees to hit this stuff.
Yeah, melting point's about 1100.
No, you don't need to. Yeah. Here's the thing. Just forget about your sintering process.
Yeah.
Epoxy Cast 690 does not go to the sintering temperature. What it does is it's a high temperature pure epoxy, and it happens to be the
into molten now.
The thinnest epoxy, not only that Smoothland offers, but that anybody offers. It's 290 setup points. It's insanely low, and you can actually add something to it to make it even thinner called Tyvek, also a property of the additives that Smooth-On offers. So you get yourself a little bottle of Tyvek, you get yourself Epoxy Cast 690.
Yeah.
Mix at the maximum threshold that you can possibly fit into there, your highest density of CCTO.
Yeah.
Hold a vacuum, get the air out, let it settle. It's a temperature or thermal cure epoxy, which means that you can actually let it settle on a layer beneath, and it will fall down to your maximum compact.
And what kind of vacuum we're talking about?
A reasonable 10 to the negative fifth vacuum for a standard pump for HVAC purposes. Okay. You're just getting to the point where if your vacuum pump can boil water, that's what you want. You need to be able to have a system where you.
That sounds really nice because the only method I've read of is mixing it with the PVA or galate binder, and the pressure needs to be like 89 megapascals, which is like.
Well, we tried this, and I know that CCTO can go over 10,000 in terms of its dielectric constant for K factor, but in this method, we got over 80 compared to the normal. The normal, which is just roughly about 3 or 4.
Wow.
So.
Well, I've read that if you put it under the right pressure and heat it for like 8 hours, you can get 280,000 K value, which is just off the fucking scale.
Well, 100,000 never intend to achieve more than that unless you're doing proper sintering and you have the perfect binder.
Oh, mate, that'd be good enough for me. Jesus Christ. Yeah.
Settle yourself with 10K.
Thanks for that.
And you'll be good. I mean, you're going to see the differences. You're not going to get probably a better homemade dielectric. If you have the CCTO powder.
Have you done it? Have you done it in an asymmetrical cap?
Yeah, well, that's why I built it. And this was in research with TT Brown, which is why I was pointing out that Brown has 2 different mechanisms, and one of them is through dielectric gradient, which is what you were talking about. What you're not talking about is his use of spin nuclear isotopes. Brown's greatest discovery. And this is where it gets juicy.
Yeah.
His radioisotopes were capable of producing forces so powerful that it got it completely blacklisted the moment that he showed it to the military admiral. He had what he called a lofting cake.
So am I wasting my time in my little ordinary man's shed?
This is step 1 of step 2. You have 2 steps. The first one is to understand the gradient electric field potentials under ideal conditions, which is CCTO in this case, one of our best materials.
By the way, Jeremy, I don't know if you're still listening while you're looking down at your phone or something, but I don't know who your guest was who mentioned it, but I bought this book because he did. It just arrived today.
Can you read the title of that? Oh, they all told the truth.
That's the Richard Crandall, right? Richard Crandall? Yeah.
Nice.
It just
arrived. I talked to him shortly before he died.
Have you skimmed it yet?
I haven't skimmed it. It's just
did you say he died?
He's not died. What the fuck?
I think he's dead.
I don't think he's dead.
No, he's not dead.
He's not dead.
Surely not.
Where is he, man? I was talking
he's on our other contact group. I mean, I could contact him.
Oh, I don't know if you want to get him on, man. It'd be cool to talk to him. It would be awesome. Maybe I'm confusing him with someone else. That's awesome if he's still with us.
I can't believe Mckinnon.
It's awesome for him.
I'm used to my friends dying, but he's not on the list.
We've lost quite a few over the years, man. So, But I want to wrap this up before it hits too close to the 2-hour mark, because that seems to be too much for a lot of people. And I think we nailed it. We gave people enough homework already with the physics we discussed.
I've got enough homework. Oh.
I think we're going to switch it to just jump off. We'll jump off and have a little private where we can hang out backstage for a little bit. And
yeah, baby.
Thank you, everyone out there, for watching. Thanks for all the super chat supporters on today's show. That every little bit helps keep us going here. Even though YouTube takes 30%. So if you want to make big donations,
like button.
If you want to make big donations and send us big bucks, you can always send me an email. I've never gotten one, but it's who knows? Some people want to link up. If you're in the Boston area, come down to my lab. Just send me an email. I don't get enough emails.
So Jeremy, what are the other ways people can contribute to you financially?
Yeah, do you have like an Amazon wish list? Surely that's like tax free.
Yeah, I know. I should get like an Amazon.
I've been on at Steve to do this for ages.
Don't give money to Amazon.
Great idea.
Yeah, but people will buy you studio kits.
It's a shit idea. Fuck Amazon. Fuck Jeff Bezos.
Who then?
Yeah, Amazon. We all have to live under Lord Bezos.
Something to do.
No, the tax man is always looking. That's the problem.
Yeah, unfortunately, Lord Bezos rules us all. So,
we got him to the moon. He made James T. Kirk cry with our money.
Oh yeah, that guy. Oh fuck, I forgot about that. Yeah.
I appreciate the people that are on board and have been on board since the beginning, because this pie is almost fully baked, and when it's ready, and it's time to eat. Man, there's going to be everyone clamoring for a spot at the table for a bite of the pie. And
can I just say, as the world's biggest military computer hacker, I've learned so much more about UFOs and Bob Lazar and 9/11 since watching Jeremy's channel. I've considered myself re-educated by Jeremy. So,
well, hey, I hope you fact checked.
I'm still tackling deauthorization.
Channel is the place to go. This is where you get to discuss this stuff. There's nowhere else online where you get to debate the debaters that are bringing this up, and you can disagree with them. And here on this channel, we support.
And I do fact check Jeremy, and luckily Jeremy provides all the sources. So yeah, you can easily fact check him.
Right. This is the one place we can really get into the details.
Oh, I got people hammering at the back door to get in the studio, man.
That's the man. That's the man.
I can't. There's only 10 spots, dude. It's
God damn it.
I should open up
the after show. How does the after show work?
Yeah, we can only get 10 people in here, man. I almost should start a. Oh, Todd's
Jeremy, I want to contribute.
I'm ready for bed, guys.
What's the best way to?
I'll listen till I pass out. So, have a good night.
Yeah, go check out
now.
Hey, Todd, real quick before you leave, did you ever get your diode pressed into your case, or did you try to just simply?
Yeah, you missed the call last night. I got it working. I got the spectroscope working. What I really need is like an SMA connector that I can connect the diode directly to the fiber optic. But for what I got right now, it works. And so now I can measure wavelengths. And if I can measure wavelengths, I can measure acceleration. And if I can measure acceleration, I can measure time dilation.
Boy, I'll just have to wait for the next week's call and see your setup.
So what do you need? An SMA to what?
We're doing experiments that affect gravity. So I'm making something that can detect gravity like you would use an atomic clock without spending millions of dollars for an atomic clock.
Right, like a Michelson-Morley interferometer or like a White-Day interferometer. He will now have the ability to directly detect the warp.
How do you separate something from time so that the effects of time don't govern it?
The speed of light changes.
Amazon.
Acceleration changes.
Estimate time and separator.
Like when light travels through a medium, it slows down and speeds up.
Yeah, you just give it parcel tracking.
All right, guys. This is sorry, I was spelling it wrong, but this is Todd's channel. If people
Drive Tech.
Oh, nice.
Go check
you, you spelled it right for the link, because when I went to get the link, someone had already taken
I'm going there now.
Tech with an H.
With an H.
Dang.
So it's Warp Tech with a K in the link.
Did to get my OCR on this.
I just can't wait till the day this information finally gets out there to the greater audience, because it's been frustrating with this small group and then trying to get it out into the mainstream and having them treat me like Schweisselbach there, the guy who discovered germs.
Schweisselbach.
This is the.
But you're a pariah, Jeremy, and you're always going to be a pariah.
The laser.
It's better to be the outside than the inside. That's what they say.
Jeremy will be a pariah because he stands in opposition to the mainstream status quo.
Always.
He can't avoid it. There's no way.
What laser is that? What is it?
It's your nature.
That's the laser diode in the lens, and then this is just an aluminum housing. That's a heat sink.
Wavelength? What wavelength is the laser?
Very good.
You manufacture your own
what is it? 455 nanometers.
Yeah, okay. And it's a gain guided diode. It's single mode diode.
Yeah, I got two of them.
Lulu, I'm sorry. I want to see.
I can have one at this height and one at this height, and light them both, and then compare.
So I'm thinking here. You've got.
You want to use one laser, and you want to use.
Is the house like a focusing thing?
Guys, try again.
No, you can't use two lasers, Todd. You cannot.
Do you
compare?
Sources.
Do you have a line level meter with one of the fluorescent bubble levels in it?
Who's trying
to
get
in? It's like a fluorescent green.
Those questions.
It's like a fluorescent green liquid that you have in a spirit.
He's not using a dye laser, Gary.
Warp Drive Tech, would you like me to do English translation as a Scottish person?
That was Drake.
What he said was, did you buy it off eBay?
Yes. Oh, sorry. No. I don't know who that was.
This isn't a dye laser, guys. This is a direct interferometry laser that interacts with its own wavelength and needs to use just one module.
Sorry, I'm just trying to introduce you.
I've got a monster lightsaber I got off of eBay.
Yes, I have one of these, and if you hit fluorescent with it, the fluorescent super glows up. So one of these that you get in a spirit level.
Oh, I got a whole box of them. Now I know what you're talking about.
Are you ready for this? Are you ready for this? So you're talking a big laser.
4 5 nanometers.
Here we go.
So a lightsaber style laser. One of those.
Dye chamber laser.
Yes. And you pump it through one of those.
Let's see this.
Oh, I can't look at it. It's going to go so bright. Okay.
I wish you had a vape, buddy.
He's doing.
Woo! Oh my goodness!
Sexy laser bitch.
Is Raid Roach or that Raid like that catches flies? It's like tape. Is that the same material that I was trying to laser through it?
I'd turn on my laser, honestly, Ian, but I'd burn up my webcam.
Yes, that's a 2 watt. That's a 2 watt.
Yeah, mine's a 7.
That'll put holes in.
There we go.
Yeah.
Nice. Someone was trying.
7 watts will fry your webcam.
You know what?
Well, yeah.
Can we switch to a Zoom call for this, man? Because like I got more people. I got people just trying to get in, and I just
provide an infinite link.
Switch to
If
Zoom.
you'd like, Jeremy, if you'd like, I can provide an infinite Zoom link that won't expire.
Okay, if you could do that, and we could start up a Zoom call. Maybe we can move over to that, because people are trying to get in, and StreamYard only lets me have 10 people in this room at a time.
Is Steve trying to get in?
I don't know who it is.
There's only 5 of us right now. What's going on?
No, there's a bunch of them backstage. There's a couple of them backstage that like a couple of these guys that don't have don't have mics and stuff. So,
why do we want them then?
Yeah, but I'm gonna wrap this up, guys. It's been a good stream, and definitely
always good, Jeremy. Always good. Always quality watching.
Here we go.
Yeah, baby.
Stay tuned. We'll have more stuff out soon, hopefully.
All right, invitation copied. I'm gonna put it in the private chat, okay? And then you can go ahead and you can post that.
I'm off for Zoom.
All right, there it is. So, is there a passcode?
It's automatic when you click the link.
It's automatic when you click the link, the passcode. So here it is. If you guys want to join, and we'll see you all there on the Zoom call. So there's the Zoom call ID number and meeting. If you you want to jump in on that, so we'll see you all over there shortly, man. And have a great night, and we'll hopefully be hanging out backstage for at least a little bit. I probably have
Lulu.
Cool.
A half hour before I got to get going. But all right, thank you guys. Have a great night, and keep up. Keep.
Are we going across to Zoom or staying in the?
Yeah, you can leave this running after you end the live and just let people migrate over because not everybody will have Zoom.
Yeah.
Got you.
And they can talk with me, amongst themselves too afterwards. So,
yeah,
all right, well, that would end it. Thank you very much for hosting another great show, Jeremy. As always, you are the quintessential mediator in disclosure.
I just, I wish it was. All I care about is the information getting out there, man. I really don't want the attention or the
people need to know.
It was never about that. It's about the fact that somebody needs to stand up and do this job. And it's not an easy job to do.
It's not. No, it's not, man. It's. I understand why.
There shouldn't be a paywall to the truth.
Have a great night, everyone. Thanks for watching.